A shed made of 90% cheap white foam plastic, and the rest is made of more expensive extruded polystyrene foam. This is likely the simplest and best designed algorithm for building a utility shed so far. All my 5 years of experience with this homemade composite material have been applied here. All the components of this know-how are sold in any hardware store. Not only avid country life enthusiasts can handle making it, but even teenagers helping out for the first time. Retirees and glamorous men and women can easily handle the work. You'll need the bare minimum of tools. After just an hour, it'll feel like you've always been doing this, and you simply won't want to stop. You'll keep building and building. This work drives away anxious thoughts and fills you with faith in a bright future. A utility shed like this will meet the storage needs of many summer residents and private homeowners. It's many times cheaper than ready-made ones and much more pleasing to the eye than most of the sheds around us. I can tell you're eager to learn this important information. Let's review everything step by step. Hello, everyone. I've been wanting to try using regular foam instead of extruded polystyrene foam in construction for a long time, and now its time has come. I decided to make sure once again and show everyone that the construction techniques introduced on the Pesniyashi Koshikawa channel are extremely simple and accessible to the vast majority of people. That's why I decided to involve my younger son German in carrying out the next project. I'll be the consultant or the mentor. Actually, I like that word better. You understand, at 16 years old, you basically have no construction experience. And if my son manages to do it, it will be the clearest proof that anyone can do it. The fact that I, his father, really love building doesn't mean that Herman likes it too. In fact, I'll say more, he actually doesn't like building at all. Children seldom follow their parents' paths. I've accepted that this is normal. I had to really persuade my son. Polystyrene foam, like extruded polystyrene, bonds perfectly with regular construction polyurethane foam adhesive. The sheets we use are 1/2 meter by 1 meter in size, with a density of 25 kilograms per cubic meter, and they're only 3 centimeters thick. And just flip this over. Producing white polystyrene foam is easier than making extruded polystyrene foam. Most areas have several polystyrene foam manufacturers, increasing competition and making white polystyrene foam prices more affordable than extruded polystyrene. And this should allow us to save even more. The first part will bear a greater load than all the others, so it should be thicker. Its components are glued with a 3 centimeter offset on 2 sides. Why it's done this way and not otherwise will become clear a bit later. Since I'm not physically working myself at the moment, I have more time to focus on the technology, optimizing each stage for maximum simplicity and faster construction, so that it's as easy as possible for my son to work, and if you want to repeat something like this, you won't waste any extra time. After all, I'm an educator. Cutting this material with a utility knife isn't very easy for German. I assumed it was due to total inexperience. But when I tried it myself, I realized that cutting foam plastic requires more effort than cutting Penaplex. It seems like foam plastic is even stronger. Self-tapping screws allow for quick temporary fixing, letting you continue without waiting for glue to set. The 103x 103 centimeter part is ready. A bit of fine tuning and all self-tapping screws are out. applying glue to all the ends at once is faster. We glue 4 sheets together and temporarily fix them with self-tapping screws. Since our foam sheets have good geometry, the work goes very quickly and easily. With this method of joining the sheets, the length of each side becomes equal to the length of the sheet plus its thickness. That's why the first piece had to be made exactly 103 by 103 centimeters. In warm weather, the glue sets fast, and after 20 minutes, we trim the excess. The next 4 sheets are coated, then glued together. As we can see, this simple construction method is similar to an entertaining game. I cover the insulation with aluminum tape. It will protect against minor mechanical impacts and from solar ultraviolet rays. The pipe now looks futuristic. You can lay this kind of pipeline just like this. Now you don't need to worry about severe frosts. We got a big cube. Some may already suspect this is part of a large support for a future utility block. You'll find out everything soon. Next, we use an alkali-resistant plaster fiberglass mesh with 5x5mm cells. It's sold in many hardware stores and definitely available in the big ones. The mesh roll is always 1 meter wide, so why use a tape measure? It's faster to wrap it around the cube with a slight overlap and cut it. The overlap should be at least 10 centimeters. We have extra, since you can't ruin porridge with butter. We also cut a piece for the top. The adhesive foam has set. We unscrew the screws, but if you're too lazy, you can just leave them. But with this method, our screws are reusable. If you don't have a screwdriver, it's not a problem. Screwing screws into foam plastic isn't much slower with a regular screwdriver. Then we measure 85 centimeters from the bottom of our cube. We draw lines on all 4 sides. The piece is very light, so we flip it over and draw, flip it over and draw. Everything is quick and easy. The cube returns to its original position. The young builder mixes adhesive for insulation. Such mixtures are produced by many brands and are also available in all hardware stores. Then I show how to do the next step. A beginner gets nearly the same result. The lines drawn before plastering serve only as a guide for where to start applying the glue. The insulation mix sticks perfectly to the foam. Let me remind you that when I build using Penaplex, I first roughen the sheets, or buy them already roughened. Foam does not require any additional treatment. It doesn't fall off, nothing to worry about. As you can see, a 16-year-old guy temporarily disconnected from the internet is doing a great job. And that means the excitement can even compete with watching YouTube, TikTok, RooTube, V-contacted Telegram, and everything else. Herman doesn't even have his main motivation yet, wanting a simple, cheap utility shed. He doesn't need it yet. We're not letting our son go out alone yet. For those who really need a shed, the work will flow like a heartfelt song. That's when I realized why the channel is called Yasha Koshek's Songs. We try to turn work into just a song. And just step away. A wide putty knife is used to give the surface its final smoothness, and the surface immediately becomes smooth enough for applying many types of homemade finishing coats. The mesh is trimmed at the corners and folded over to the top side. Do you want to bend it? No, not yet, later. It's summer, and in warm weather, thermal insulation adhesive sets quickly. That's why we decided to apply and reinforce 2 sides at a time. This way, there's no need to rush, and you can get the most enjoyment out of the work. We spread the mixture on the next 2 sides and proceed. The new plasterer is already working nearly as well as the experienced one. Regular viewers of the Yasha Koshek Songs channel know I'm not a plasterer. A simple reinforcement method based on applying thin layers of mixture allows even those who are holding simple tools for the first time to appear as plasterers. A wide regular spatula. Reinforcement of the top surface is done with the next piece of mesh, and the mesh is wrapped around the side edges. Together with it, this allows you to achieve reliable reinforcement of all corners without any breaks in the reinforcing material. And we will need reliability. The first element of the future utility block is ready. Let's move it to where it won't get in our way for now. Herman started making the second element of the utility block. It's almost the same as the first one, except that its first part will be only 1 sheet thick instead of 2. This is our first structure made from foam-based compote. I'm almost sure the sudden redirection will be successful. But I decided to make the first hut of autonomous size. The base dimensions will be 7 by 12 liters. We each poured 100 grams of tea for a boost. This is exactly how careless translators can change the meaning of words when translating videos into other languages, especially if they use neural networks. I recently aimed to share information about ultra-cheap construction methods more widely. For this purpose, some videos were translated into English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Our humble work was surprisingly highly appreciated in Latin American countries and even in the United States. All was fine until the video about the garden path, which is mostly Penaplex, was translated. There's a phrase there that says, "The work is so simple and easy that even the weaker sex can handle it." It didn't offend anyone who watched the original video in Russian, but the translator translated those words. How can even women handle this job? Many female viewers from the United States were very upset. I learned the meaning of the word sexist. A woman said she operated a 300-ton crane in Alaska's permafrost and was offended by my comment that even women could handle it. Another woman said she took a reactor out of emergency mode 5 times, and my comments about even women deeply upset her. There were many comments. Algorithms believed women liked the video, views increased, and some even suggested suing me. I noticed American men stayed back while Yasha the Belarusian was targeted. I soon realized why only Sigourney Weaver fought the aliens and Sarah Connor beat the Terminator. Director Cameron had no other choice. Now I know how tough American women can be. The very same ones who, in the movies, greet new neighbors with apple pies. I used to think only Russian speakers were this direct. If someone is wrong, we just say you're wrong, though maybe with different words. Foreigners are polite and won't tell you harsh truths directly. They may be offended by things that don't bother us. At the end of that video, I foolishly claimed I got my wife interested in goats and paths, steering her hobbies like drawing and ceramics into something useful. I said it as a joke. The translator retold it in a very serious tone. United States women watching up to that point were already writing in Russian, showing they know our strong words well overseas. Of course I apologized, but it didn't help much. But there were also those who defended me. They wrote that different cultures treat women differently. It's a fine line. They assumed that I'm just from the east. Our Homel region is actually in the southeast of Belarus, and I calmed down a bit. That's what translation issues are like. You can use any scraps, which is great for saving money, because unlike extruded polystyrene foam, regular foam can absorb water quite a bit. We enlarged the roof overhangs to direct precipitation farther from the walls. Here are all the scraps that weren't used. We leave the mesh overhangs long so they can fold under the roof overhangs. The goal is not only to get a cheap utility shed, but also one that is pleasing to the eye and doesn't look shabby like many sheds in our post-Soviet area. So Kutza doesn't resemble typical store-bought utility sheds. Overlaps, mesh on mesh, everywhere we make at least 10 centimeters. As you've noticed, we work in a comfortable position at a convenient height. This has a positive effect on labor productivity. And I believe the safety is also top-notch because even from a low stepladder, you can fall in a very dangerous way. Technology though, the method of building houses with foam plastic, metal mesh, and concrete has existed for a long time but never became widespread. Because it's inconvenient and labor intensive. There's just too much heavy concrete in it, and it's also hard to apply. The technology should be affordable and convenient. In these shots, it's the end of July. This year's heavy hailstorm broke the transparent roof of our canopy, prompting us to replace it as even the opaque section of our shed bathhouse canopy was already worn out. Herman and I spent all August on the roof. Building the utility block boosted our confidence, and my son saw that hands-on work isn't so hard. It's already September, and my youngest went to school with a clear conscience, and I'm finishing up the shed. If you have urgent tasks, you can build a shed like this very quickly. I hope I've already proven that even a completely inexperienced person can handle this kind of construction. The eaves and the roof sagged a little under the weight of the base reinforcing layer. No problem, I remembered my friend Dennis, who came up with a way to make even 6-meter long walls like these perfectly straight. In his frameless house made of expanded polystyrene which he and his wife Irina built in the Pskov region. Temporarily attached straightboard scraps with foam. As you may have guessed, this will be a compact utility shed. First of all, I want to be 100% sure that building with regular foam is really reliable, so I don't want to risk a large amount of materials. As an intuitive technician, I'm more than 99% sure that everything will be great, but still. Secondly, even with compact dimensions, the utility shed can be quite ergonomic, and it can meet the storage needs of many summer residents and private homeowners. Some people might be wondering why Yasha Koshak chose regular foam instead of Penoplex this time. I just wanted to dispel the rumors that I'm one of the shareholders of this company. If I owned even 1% of shares in the expanded polystyrene manufacturer, would I really be making videos on ultra cheap construction methods? Luckily, I don't own shares in any expanded polystyrene manufacturing company, or I would have understood. I would have started a blog from Dubai, for example, about investments, about how to invest millions, not about how to build a house for $1,000. I'm not burdened with any responsibility, and I can build with whatever I want. I flip over the first part of the shed and cut an opening 65 centimeters wide on one of the sides. It starts right from the very bottom. As I said, polystyrene absorbs much more water than extruded polystyrene foam. That's why I didn't use it for the walls in my house for $1,000 project. But now I found a solution to eliminate this weak point of polystyrene. Polystyrene, unlike EPPS, is vapor permeable, which is a major advantage. In buildings, you probably don't need to worry as much about ventilation. As they say, it's just a simple matter of technique. I'm reinforcing the inside of the utility block. When reinforcing from the inside, as with the outside, it's important to set the mesh direction evenly, keeping it as horizontal as possible without sloping up or down. Then everything goes smoothly, like a song. I'm not speeding up this part on purpose, just to show again how simple everything is. This kind of work is very different from traditional construction work, which can be quite hard and take a toll on our health. This kind of work is more like enjoyable fitness. About burglary resistance. In the wild 90s, if people knew a sturdy shed held valuables, they'd steal both the shed and its contents. Recently, they could even steal a whole metal garage. Modern logistics centers, hypermarkets, and warehouses storing valuable goods often use sandwich panels for their walls. These panels can be cut with a cordless angle grinder in minutes. But nobody does that since everyone knows there will be consequences. It's the same with Sarai Vorov. It's not reinforced concrete walls that stop people, but the certainty of punishment. Otherwise, why have law enforcement? I'm moving to the second element. I make an opening of 65 Cyrenauers, but about 15 Cyrenauer above the bottom. A simple workflow algorithm also suits small businesses. By the way, small businesses can donate for the idea, for example, on Boosty. The link is under the video. Those who want to support the ideas of ultra low-cost construction can do the same. Applying a reinforcing layer from the inside greatly strengthens the building's walls. The Sapromat sandwich panel effect starts to work. After setting, the 25 density foam walls felt stronger than those of extruded polystyrene foam. I mostly use the cheapest extruded polystyrene foam. Maybe buying a pricier one will have the same result, but foam costs less. When the first element dries, I add reinforcement on the left and right sides to create a continuous reinforcing layer. One wall bent a little, so I glued on a temporary straight bar. I decided to cover this part of the utility block with bituminous waterproofing mastic. My new videos on RooTube are now released earlier than on other platforms. That's how it is. The Union of Soviet Socialist Republics really loved to show off. In our post-Soviet space, there are still places where people love to show off, even now. High-ranking commissions are often shown something different from the reality. With this material, you can very quickly make the missing objects that were supposed to be cast from concrete, but because of carelessness, as usual, they didn't manage to cast them in time. They're hard to distinguish visually. The workers easily set them up along the commission's route without equipment. As inspectors pass, they quickly move them further along. A tip for not so honest local managers. The block has served its purpose. All in all, it took about 1.5 packs of foam, about 20 meters of mesh, and 3 bags of mix. As you can imagine, the cost is next to nothing because of the technology. However, the price of similar ready-made sheds on the internet starts at $500. Can we understand how that's possible?
Well, why not? Of course you can.
Are you filming already? Not yet.
Yes, I'm filming. Yes, you turn it on and start filming.
In short, in the next videos, we will cover the roof with a super durable homemade roofing material that costs next to nothing. We'll make a cheap do-it-yourself door and create a finishing coat that will amaze your neighbors with its beauty. We'll come up with and install a storage system that can hold so many folders. Well, you can talk about what you're doing, how hard it is for you, and only you can imagine it.
You can lift it high? Well, you can't. Carefully, German, pull it towards you. It's slipped into the grooves. Okay, so first,
We'll go in then too.
towards yourself a little.
A little towards yourself.
Towards yourself, towards German, towards German. That's it. Perfect. Oh,
That's it. Thank you.
that's it.
Just like it was before. The utility building is ready. Give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to the Yasha Koshek Songs channel. Subscribe to RooTube, the V-Contacte group, TikTok, and Zen. All the links are below the video. Also, hit the bell and then I'll definitely keep you informed. Yes, let there be peace all over the world. Thank you, thank you.